The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Saskatchewan Pulse Growers and Nodulator XL.
Joining us here on Real Agriculture now, we have Sherrilyn Phelps of Sask Pulse and talking Faba beans heading into the 2016 planting season. Seed size variation is something that growers need to pay attention to?
Yes, Faba beans really vary in their seed size, so depending on the variety and even the seed source. We see a range from, say, 335 grams, 1,000 kernel weight to well over 800. So that's more than 2.5 times difference in size. So knowing what the seed size is important when it comes to choosing the seeding rates.
So how does a grower figure that out, or where do they get that information?
Well, that information in terms of calculating your seeding rate, there's a number of different sources. There's even a calculation in the seed guide that you can use. But what you're typically doing is taking your targeted plant stand, so that 45 plants per meter squared, timesing it by your 1,000 kernel weight, and then dividing it by your percent emergence. So the challenge is predicting what your percent emergence is, and you can use your germination rate, and typically for pulses, it's the emergence rate ends up being 5 to 15% lower than what your germination rate. So depending on, are you seeding really early? Are you, putting it through systems, your air seeding systems with a lot of air where you could be seeing some damage? Is your seed a bit questionable? Are you putting extra fertilizer with it? Are you doing things that could impact emergence a bit? Under those situations, you would then use a lower emergence rate. Typically, I use about an 85% emergence rate. If you have, say, 95% germination and above and expect sort of good emergence, that's the number that I use. When we use that number and kind of look at the range of what the seed size would be and what growers would be expected to be planting at, the seeding rates could be anywhere from close to 3 bushels to over 6. So when you're figuring out your economics, that becomes that is a very wide range, and it's very important that you know your seed size going into seeding.
Any other tips then heading into seeding time?
There's a number of things with Faba beans that you need to consider when you're looking at planting. One is the field choice. So you want to have fields that have more water holding capacity. They like to have a lot of moisture available. You have to watch fields that have residual herbicide concerns, and there's a list of those within the presentations that are posted on the websites. So there's a lot of 2-year restrictions. You want to be cognizant of other fields that might have Faba beans planted in the nearby areas, because Faba beans do a high level of outcrossing. So if you have different types being grown side by side, you will get outcrossing, and then the seed that is harvested from that field could give you problems the next years in planting, because you would end up with a mixture of types. So that's another thing to consider, is just where neighbors, or if you're seeding more than one variety of Faba beans, make sure you keep them separate. Other factors to consider include fertility. That is one important thing with Faba beans, even though they're really high at fixing nitrogen, but you should be cognizant again of the phosphorus levels. They are a high user of phosphorus, and you should be looking at management strategies to keep a balancing act in terms of your soil phosphorus levels.
Is it safe to apply it with seed, or what's the recommendation?
The recommendation with Faba beans is 40 pounds of actual phosphorus per acre can be seeded or seed placed. Mm-hmm. And that work was just double checked this last year by Jeff Shano at the university, so we're very confident in that number. They are more tolerant than other pulse crops. So that is one nice thing, because they do require a lot of phosphorus, that you can actually put some down with the seed and help with your fertility management. The other thing to be concerned about with seeding is just planning your inoculant and making sure that you're using inoculant that is either specific for Faba beans or is a pea lentil inoculant that you've checked with the manufacturer and it works on Faba beans. Some strains of rhizobia are more effective on Faba beans. It's the same species of rhizobia that works on peas and lentils will work on Faba beans, but there are different strains, kind of like varieties of crops, that can be more effective on Faba beans or less effective. So if you're using a product that is just registered as a pea lentil inoculant, it could still nodulate, but you should check with the manufacturer to make sure that strain actually is effective on Faba beans. So just another thing to consider when you're seeding Faba beans. And then just planning your seeding dates and your seeding depth. You want to seed about 2 to 3 inches in depth, and your seeding dates as early as you can get on the field is what they're saying that you can get away with planting Faba beans. So,
all right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.